The snow fell soft and innocent that night as Karen's black SUV crept down the street like a predator. With headlights off and engine purring low, she aimed straight for Mark's snowman and floored it hard. Metal met snow with a sickening crunch as the snowman exploded in a white cloud of powder. Karen didn't even brake and just smirked behind the wheel with complete satisfaction. Morning light revealed the crime scene with Mark standing in his driveway boots deep in powder. The carrot nose lay crushed like evidence while coal eyes scattered like broken dreams everywhere. Fresh tire tracks gouged his lawn deeply as clear proof of the deliberate attack. He didn't need security footage to know exactly who was responsible for this mess. Across the street, Karen slammed her car door and called out in that fake sweet voice. "You really should follow the rules, Mark," she said with a tight, victorious smile. Her maroon hoodie zipped tight against the cold while blonde frizz framed her face. Mark stared back with jaw tight, feeling anger rise inside his chest. "It's a snowman, Karen, it's just snow," he replied, trying to stay calm. She crossed her arms with clipboard magically in hand, ready to lecture him again. HOA guidelines clearly ban unsanctioned displays in the neighborhood, she declared firmly. Her smile stayed tight and victorious as she spoke about keeping things beautiful. "Rules keep the neighborhood beautiful and orderly," she added, sounding smug and superior. Mark almost laughed, but the sound died in his throat with bitterness. His 7-year-old niece Emma had built that snowman with him, and now joy was gone. The joy was replaced by tire tracks and dirty slush all over the lawn. He watched Karen drive off looking smug as ever in her petty victory. The neighborhood looked peaceful on the surface with white picket fences and quiet streets. But beneath it all, the strict HOA ruled with iron fists and total control. Karen was president, acting like the self-appointed queen of the entire street. She patrolled like a cop with too much time on her hands every day. Fines came for the wrong trash bin color and lectures about visible grills. This winter she had declared all-out war on any form of fun. Mark rebuilt the snowman again that afternoon with fresh determination and defiance. Defiance was packed into every single snowball he carefully shaped by hand. He used a new carrot fresh scarf and created a crooked grin. He stepped back and felt a small spark of pride in his work. Night fell once more and the black SUV returned slowly to the scene. Karen rolled past with eyes locked intensely on the yard from her car. The headlights lingered like a silent threat hanging in the cold darkness. Mark watched everything from his window with fists clenched tightly in frustration. Next morning the snowman was completely gone again and the lawn was torn up. He called the HOA office with his voice steady but full of anger. Karen answered herself, sounding sweet as poison on the other end. "I'm afraid snow damage isn't our concern at all," she said coldly. Mark gripped the phone tighter as rage began to build deep inside. "You drove on my property twice," he accused her directly over the line. She laughed like ice cracking and told him to prove it, dear. Neighbors started whispering about Karen's behavior, spreading quickly in the cold air. Greg from next door came over and shared the latest shocking stories. "She's on a tear, and fined the Thompsons for their blue lights." Mark decided that enough was enough and began planning his smart revenge. He rebuilt the snowman, but this time much smarter and stronger inside. Using steel mesh rebar and cinder blocks hidden deep under the snow. The chicken wire skeleton made it incredibly solid and sturdy overall. It looked completely innocent and friendly from the outside view. But this snowman was strong enough to stop a moving truck cold. He added the scarf carrot nose and the cheerful crooked grin. Then he set up a hidden camera with its red light blinking steadily. Night after night, the tension continued to build between them quietly. Karen's silhouette watched suspiciously from her window across the dark street. At 2 a.m., the headlights appeared once again in the darkness. The black SUV crawled forward like a shark hunting its prey. Karen stepped out and poked the snowman hard with growing suspicion. She climbed back in the car and revved the engine loudly. The SUV lurched forward and slammed into the snowman with full force. Metal screamed as the hood of her car folded like paper. Steam hissed into the falling snow while airbags popped inside suddenly. The reinforced snowman barely shifted from its strong position at all. Karen stumbled out, clutching her wrist in pure shock and pain. Neighbors' lights started turning on one by one across the street. "What the hell is this thing?" she shouted in total disbelief. Mark walked outside calmly, holding his steaming coffee mug in hand. "Evening, Karen, having some car trouble tonight?" he asked her coolly. Her face turned beet red with rage under the bright porch lights. The officers arrived and looked at the solid snowman in surprise. "Looks like a snowman to me, ma'am," one officer commented simply. Mark showed them the clear video footage from his hidden camera. The crowd watched and murmured as snickers began spreading quickly around. "Guess the snowman finally won this battle," Greg said loudly. By morning, the clip had spread throughout the neighborhood group chat. Stories poured in about all of Karen's past petty fines. The HOA called an emergency meeting without inviting her this time. Mark smiled, watching his niece Emma play happily with the snowman again. The neighborhood felt much lighter after Karen's public humiliation finally. Petty tyrants always overreach eventually and face the consequences head-on. And somewhere in the quiet suburbs, a snowman still stood tall and proud.